Good evening, dear students. Today we will start discussing about synthesis of nano. So, in the synthesis of nanomaterials, chemical vapor deposition is one of the method. So, in the chemical vapor deposition, uh, what is the principle of the method? Now, the principle of the method involves chemical reaction or a decomposition of a precursor in an inert gaseous phase. So, in the inert gaseous phase, uh, reactants are allowed to combine and to form a clusters in presence of a inert gas like plasma gas or maybe an argon gas, and the precursor may be here a solid, liquid, or a gas. So the precursor may be an atoms, cluster of an atoms, or maybe a molecule, or maybe a mixture of both. Now the speciality of this chemical vapor decomposition or chemical vapor condensation method, the one of the component is you can take a solid or maybe liquid or maybe a gas. So here you can take a solid, liquid, or a gas as individual components, or you can mix solid with a liquid or liquid with a gas, or maybe all three together to form a multi-component. So the very important feature here is you can have a multi-component which is vaporized and mixed with inert carrier gas. Now these vapors of the solid, liquid, gas which is taken in the proper molar ratio is mixed with the inert carrier gas like argon or nitrogen. Now the argon and nitrogen is acting as a carrier gas, and the mixture is fed into a reactor. So in the reactor, inert atmosphere is maintained, and these atoms or molecules which are in the vapor state is allowed to undergo a recombination process. So during this recombination process, solid and liquid or maybe the gas which is converted finally into a vaporized form is start to allow to undergo to form in one-dimensional nanoclusters. And one-dimensional nanoclusters are slowly converted into in two-dimensional nanoclusters, and subsequently it is converted into in three-dimensional nanomaterials. Now, in this case, the precursor undergoes a chemical change on a substrate and results into nanoparticles. Now, subsequently, these nanoparticles are collected on a cold finger. So, the vapors of the one-dimensional nanoclusters, which are formed in the reactor, after converting the solid, liquid, or a gas into a vaporized form, and they are being sent to a cold finger, where cold finger is where the liquid nitrogen or the argon is getting circulated, and the one-dimensional or two-dimensional nanoclusters are allowed to stick to the surface of the cold finger. Now these once it is stick to the surface of the cold finger, and the clamps are being made. That the clamps are called as clarifiers. Clamp like substance or a clamp like an instrument which is being called as a clarifiers is made to move up and down from the cold finger, and these particles are collected in a particle collector, and particle collector is taken out and processed to a desired size. Now the byproducts formed are taken out along with the gas phase of the substance. So the different byproducts which are formed is taken out along with the gas phase of the substance. Now this is the typical figure where the chemical vapor deposition or condensation is being made. Now the precursor. So in this figure, the precursor is the unit where the atoms or molecules or are taken in the either the atoms may be in the solid form or liquid form or gaseous form, and it is being heated in the precursor chamber. So either solid, liquid, or gas, everything is converted into vaporized form, and these vapors are being pressurized with a carrier gas. Carrier gas may be argon or a nitrogen. And once these argon or nitrogen takes away the gaseous form of the atoms or molecules into a furnace. Now, the furnace is the chamber where the irradiation is being made. Usually, typically, laser irradiation is being done to increase the, recombination process of atoms or molecules. Now, the furnace in the furnace, there is an inlet for introducing another reactant during the formation of nanoclusters. So the nano clusters will allow to form in the furnace after the carrier gas takes away the solid, liquid, or gaseous form of the substance into the chamber. So the one-dimensional nanomaterials will start forming. Now, once these one-dimensional materials are start forming, so these nanomaterials are allowed to grow in the form of nanoclusters, and nanoclusters are being sent into the typical unit. What is that unit is called as a collection chamber. So in this collection chamber, a cold finger is being made, and these cold finger is containing a liquid nitrogen or liquid nitrogen. And these liquid nitrogens will bring it a temperature of almost minus 150 to 250 degrees Celsius. So in this temperature, nanoclusters of one-dimensional or two-dimensional in size is stick to a surface of the cold finger. So once it is stick to a surface of the cold finger, it is being taken out and in a nanoparticle processing unit and processed to obtain the desired size of the nanoparticles. Deposition or condensation method advantages: simple technique and does not require any high vacuum. So it is a very simple technique where a solid, liquid, or gaseous form of atoms or molecules being vaporized, and the vapors of the substances are taken away by the carrier gas and provide pure product. So you can control over here the molar ratios of recombinations of different solid state of the substance, or maybe liquid state of the substance, or maybe both. So provide a pure product with controlled size and the shape of the nanomaterials, and suitable to produce metal and non-metals. So it is very important to produce metals and non-metals, recombination process to get different nanomaterials and their compounds like oxides, carbides, nitrides, etc. Example: gallium arsenide nanoparticles are obtained from the trimetal gallium and arsenium hydride as a precursor. So if you want to get gallium arsenide nanoparticles, take a precursor of trimetal gallium and arsenium hydride precursor at 700 degrees Celsius and convert these into an vapors form, and vapors of the substance will be taken up by the argon gas, and these argon gas will in the furnace chamber. So these gallium and arsenide will allow to undergo recombination process to get in one-dimensional nanoclusters. Subsequently, growth of one-dimensional nanoclusters will convert into in 2D or 3-dimensional nanoclusters. So this is an example of the synthesis of gallium arsenide nanoparticles, which are obtained from the trimetal gallium and arsenium hydride as a precursor at 700 degrees Celsius in presence of hydrogen as a carrier gas. Now, there's another method is the precipitation method. So this is a very simple method of obtaining the desired size and shape of the nanomaterials. Now, what is the basic principle of precipitation method? The method involves careful precipitation of nanoparticles from their solutions through nucleations as well as particle growth steps. So the precipitation method involves the precipitating the desired nanomaterials by creating a nucleation, and once these precipitate will form, the particle growth will occur, and the nanomaterials of different compositions can be obtained. Now, the Precursors are hydrolyzed product of metal salts. So you know very well that the metal salts like metal nitrates, so sodium nitrate, potassium nitrate, sodium chloride, sodium carbonate, potassium carbonate, etc. So especially in the soluble salts like soluble metal salts like metal nitrates or chloride or maybe carbonate, and when they are being placed in water, they exist as metal cations. So the aluminum, for example, when it is aluminum chloride is being placed in water, so it exists, aluminum exists here with the water as aluminum cation, so AlH2O 6 times of 3 plus. And iron, when it is being placed in water, so it will exist as iron H2O 6 times of 3 plus. So the metal will exist in the form of the metal cations. Now the metal cations are being in the next step. Once it exists as metal cations, it is added with precipitating agents like sodium hydroxide or maybe ammonium hydroxide. So these sodium hydroxide, ammonium hydroxide, or maybe even sodium carbonate is added to the precursor. Now these precursors are added as a precipitating agent, uh, and these precipitating agents will also results in the alteration of the pH. Now you have to adjust the pH of the solution depending upon the different types of the metal ions, and the alteration of pH and causes the condensation of the precursors. So the precursors, that is the hydrated metal cations, will start condensing and start forming a nucleation and getting precipitated inside the solutions after adding different precipitating agents like sodium hydroxide, ammonium hydroxide, or maybe sodium carbonates, and forms condensation of the precursor. Now, once these concentration of the solution increases, that is the density of the solution increases and reaches to in such a state where supersaturation occurs, and there is a beginning of the nucleation, and this causes the growth of the particles. Growth of the particles results due to nucleations, and the particle size is governed by the rate of attainment of supersaturation as well as the nucleations. So once these precipitates are obtained, these precipitates are allowed to grow in the solution for a certain period of time, and with constant agitation, and these precipitates are being filtered, washed with water, and washed with dilute alcohol, and dried at 100 to 200 degrees Celsius and calcinated at 800 degrees Celsius to obtain the desired size and shape of the nanomaterials. Now the experimental parameters like the concentration of hydrated metal cations, temperature at which these cations will exist, and pH. pH controls the particle size, crystallinity, and as well as the morphology of the nanomaterials. Crystallinity and morphology of the nanomaterials depends upon concentration, temperature, and pH uh, in this precipitation method. Advantages of this precipitation method: the first advantage is nanoparticles containing various elements or compounds can be easily synthesized by this method. So the nanoparticles containing various elements or compounds, either maybe it is multi-component, or maybe single component, or maybe a component of molecules as well as atoms, can be easily synthesized simultaneously. Now this process is very economical. There is no much costly reagents are involved during the process of formation of the nanomaterials. Very simple reagents like the precipitating agents like sodium hydroxide or sodium carbonate or ammonium hydroxide is sufficient to precipitate the nanomaterials. And example is a zinc sulfide, ZnS nanoparticles, and can be synthesized by the precipitation of a zinc nitrate as a precursor with the passage of an hydrogen sulfide gas. So when you pass hydrogen sulfide gas into a solution of zinc nitrate, zinc sulfide will getting precipitated, and this precipitate is a nanomaterial. Thank you.